Thank you for that. Let me share my screen. Okay. And advancing to the next one is always difficult. Okay, so Araceli is not with us at the moment. She probably won't be joining, but she was the previous leader for the academy. If anybody here was referred by her, thank you for being here. A little bit of information about her, and it's great to have her on here so that you know how long we've been going. So this is, we're taking applications now for cohort 20. Araceli was part of cohort 11. So that was a little while ago. And then there is me, Brenda Kyle. Thank you so much for being here. I was part of cohort 4. So it's a long running program. Established and I would say successful in getting people out and about and, advocacy for their communities. A little bit about me. I worked along the rivers in LA County, not just the LA River, but the San Gabriel, the Rio Hondo, the Santa Clara rivers, as well as fires. For the Forest Service, I got sent up to the River Complex fire in Etna, in California. So, you know, the Nature for All as a group has this great fountain of knowledge in all things outdoors. Yes, in my free time, I also set fires, but not in the forest, not in the forest. So that's what I do. That's me. Thank you all for being here. This is a breakdown of what we're going to do today. We're going to give you an explanation of who Nature for All is, what we do. We'll talk about the Leadership Academy, other ways you can get involved, and you know, any questions you might have. If you have questions as we go along, feel free to put them in the chat. More than likely, we will answer those questions during the presentation, but to make sure that we answer it, let's put it in the chat, and we will have an opportunity to just do a verbal Q&A as well. Okay, so who we are. So Nature for All is not only a nonprofit, it's also a coalition. And you can see all of the coalition members there at the bottom of the screen. We have a diverse base of people in these coalitions that we hope transfers into a diverse base of community building. Nature for All advocates for policies and programs that protect the mountains, create more natural spaces, and connect people to these public open lands. A little timeline of what we've done since 2008. Refining plans, getting petitions, introduction of bills, generating over 10,000 comments to the National Park Service about the proposed monument, etc., up to 2013, where we got the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments involved, etc. And finally, in 2014, came our biggest victory when we had President Obama sign through the Antiquities Act. With the swipe of a pen, he protected these public lands, not just for us, but for generations to come. So that was kind of an exciting moment. This video has sound too. If we can't hear it, it's okay. Everyone is just basically saying thank you.
Partners and Sierra Club supporters.
Okay, well, I asked if you can hear it, you couldn't, I'm so sorry for that. But it's just a video of the designation and people thanking then President Obama for using the Antiquities Act to sign this into, you know, protections for the forest. But really the thank you should go to the 10 years plus of people that had been working on that campaign, all of the organizers that were literally boots on the ground, getting those petitions, and, you know, writing to their elected representatives at a local and at a national level. So he's the one that got the glory, but the work was put in by people like everyone here for a good part of a decade. Let's see, next slide. Okay, so this is the vision map for the monument. Everything that you see in the red here is the actual monument now, and then everything that you see on the green outlines, that's the proposed expansion. Portions of the monument were left out at the last minute, and it really came down to the last minute, but still hoping to add. A lot of community engagement has to happen, and that's hopefully all of us have the chance to engage our communities as we define them in enjoying the monument and the proposed national recreation area. That's the area that you see in blue. That is the San Gabriel River, the Rio Hondo, not the LA River, just those two. But we can also include the LA River for purposes of this cohort. So urban national recreation areas outside of the forest are just as important as the forest itself. We are looking to provide recreational opportunities for millions of Angelenos that live in park poor neighborhoods. And the definition of park poor is having 1 acre or less of park space for every 1,000 people. And to put that into like visuals, an acre is pretty much 4 houses, you know, 4 regular houses on a block. Imagine having 1,000 people using that as green space. That is a park for community. I've been to, you don't even have to go places. You can look on a map, and there are parts of East LA specifically where there the cemeteries are bigger than the parks. The cemetery, there are more cemeteries than there are parks. So that kind of puts it into perspective on how much open space we really need. We're a grayscape. The green space that is here, it looks like it's some sort of an athletic field, and no other green space around, not a lot of trees, etc. And, you know, trees are near and dear to my heart because I, you know, did street trees for the city for a while. So there is a need, as you know, I did the hashtag, we got to green the gray, we got to green the gray. And park poor communities not only lack access to green space, but natural spaces, safe water, and clean air. That's how important green space is to our public health. We are looking to have access for all. More than 17 million people reside within a 90 minute drive of the San Gabriel Mountains. 90 minutes is not a very long time. And access doesn't just mean being able to get there. Access means inclusivity, for signage, for accessibility as far as ADA compliance. And it's difficult in natural areas, but it's not impossible. Transportation is one of the biggest obstacles. We have a program that is called Transit to Trails, where we take public transit into the mountains, and we have a shuttle system kind of piloting a shuttle system to test it to see how much traffic will be alleviated as well, because part of having public green space is taking care of that public green space. We should all learn how to be responsible in our uses. Again, this is a public health crisis. Let me read a little bit about what Cohort communities do. Research confirms that living close to a park significantly increases how frequently residents exercise, and reduces cardiovascular disease and childhood obesity rates. Having a park nearby is vital to the health of community. And so our work, this is what we do. Again, parks and open space, transportation, water, and leadership. This is what we're all here for, to go through our leadership academy. And if you haven't applied after the presentation, please do so that I have time to read all the applications. Hopefully we get a good solid batch of 15 people. It's somewhat competitive, but don't let that dissuade you. And if anything, have it motivate you, because if you're passionate about helping your community as you define it, there is space for everyone in nature. Okay, now the Leadership Academy. This is what we're here for. The goal of the Academy is to empower the next generation of diverse environmental leaders. And diversity means socioeconomical diversity, ethnic diversity, age diversity, all of those things, because everyone has someone to, everyone has the capacity to be a leader, but sadly, oftentimes we don't get the opportunities to be leaders. So we have to create our own. And when we create our own, we empower others. So that's what we're here for, to create not just really the next generation, but generations of environmental leaders. This is a 5-month program, but it is not 5 months every day for a week. No, it's 1 day a week, either a Wednesday or a Saturday, and we'll go over the schedule later. We run from March 4th through May 24th, and then you have from May to the beginning of August to complete your program, to complete your project. This is a project-based academy. So that's the 5 months, 3 months of training, 2 months to actually execute your project, and that project has to advocate for mountains, rivers, parks, the proposed national recreation area, etc. I moved my cursor and now I can't. There it goes. Over the past 10 years, we've had 19 cohorts, graduated over 200 individuals, 53% of whom identify as youth. That's between 25 and 15 to 25. 61% identify as women, which is amazing, girl power. And 85% identify as immigrant. To me, that is one of the most beautiful things, because civic engagement is important. For many people, civic engagement is a right that they've kind of turned into a privilege, and that's not the way it is. Civic engagement is our right, and civic engagement is our duty, not for us, but to future generations. Okay, so here is the schedule for cohort 20. Saturday, March 4th is our first class. It will be outdoors, and we'll be talking about Indigenous history with Indigenous speakers. Class 2 is a Wednesday. We'll be talking about the definition of public lands and what Nature for All is. We'll get more in depth into those subjects. Class 3, environmental justice. So far, I have Avocado Heights Vaqueros, and they talk about how they're fighting a polluter in their area. Class 4, community organizing and power mapping, also on a Wednesday. Class 5, a personal favorite, plants of the San Gabriel Mountains. That would be Saturday, April 1st at Eaton Canyon. Class 6, arts as advocacy. That I really want that one to be in person, because we will probably be doing some sort of an art project. But as it stands now, the Wednesday classes are all via Zoom, and the Saturday classes are in person. The arts as advocacy is still kind of up in the air. So Wednesday classes are via Zoom, Saturday classes are in person. Telling your story with a wonderful journalist that will be helping us write. Then you have your first opportunity for volunteer work, and using everything that you've learned so far to join the Theodore Payne Garden Tour as a volunteer or just as a guest. That's an opportunity there. Class 8, public speaking, and then 66 Golden Streets. That is also an opportunity to either volunteer or just enjoy the event. Class 10, geology. 11 will be discussing your projects. So you'll be using everything you've learned up to class 10 to pitch your project. The final class that Wednesday, I also want to have that one in person. I'm working out a few things, but as it stands right now, it will probably be via Zoom, and then graduation, for sure, that Wednesday will be via Zoom. So again, Saturday classes are in person. Wednesday classes, for the most part, are via Zoom, and we go from 6 to 8 on Wednesdays, and Saturdays 9 to 4, and they're subject to change depending on the instructor availability. But we'll get that nailed down by the March 4th start date. So graduation May 24th, then you have until August to finish your project. So the class format is participants are the teachers. We will learn from each other. We will have structured skill building led by the guest speaker, and time for discussion. Everything that is in class is geared to you pitching, making that final pitch for your project, class 11. Okay. Participation is expected. In order to graduate, you need to attend at least 80% of the classes. That's 9 out of the 12. I realize that schedules shift, they change, things happen, and the opportunities for the volunteer work and the outreach, I will probably use as a way to make up a class. So it's still 9 out of 12, but you have the 2 extra bonus classes as an opportunity to make up any classes you may have missed. The classes are structured for everyone to formulate, propose, and organize a project. That coincides with our mission and campaign. So please try not to miss any of the classes, but I understand that things happen. This is the fun part. Okay. After you complete the class, you've attended at least 80% of the classes, you've participated, you've completed your assignment, you've completed your project, you get a $500 stipend. So you go through all of this, at the end, you get $500 for you. So again, classes are via Zoom on Wednesdays. Saturdays, they are in person. Attend at least 80% of the classes, participate, complete your project, you get $500 for you as a stipend for going through the class. All of this criteria must be met. What to expect post-academy, we have a very lively stewards group for advocacy. We have people in all station, people doing restoration, etc., where we can. So that's also a big plus. The stewards group, aside from being social, they do a lot to empower and engage with community and other advocacy efforts, and collecting petitions, speaking, etc. So the stewards is a wonderful way to get engaged with what we do, and it is open to anyone that has gone through the academy and anyone that's just interested in becoming a steward. We try and be as inclusive as possible. The mentorship. This is the stewards group, and that's where we find mentors and communicate with each other, what we're doing, where we're going, ideas, how to get things done. I'm looking for a job, etc. The social part of being in like this will never be underestimated. It is a valuable tool in getting things accomplished. We also have had lobbying, where we have gone to DC to lobby on behalf of the monument, and we typically take one or two participants from the different cohorts with us, and that's always a high point. Can someone mute their mic, please? So careers, people that have gone through the academy have ended up working for Active SGB. They're the group that are going to be putting up the Golden Street 626, the Bureau of Land Management, Generation Green, that's the Forest Service program, Nature for All. I went through the academy and here I am. The National Park Service, the Nature Conservancy, I mean, just everywhere. Every kind of environmental org that you can think of that is hyper local to the federal level. It really is a learning experience. And if those are not your career goals, don't worry. This is inclusive, and the goal is engagement of your community. And again, you get to define your community as you see it. And this is the most exciting part, I think. For those that want to earn their naturalist certificate, we have the opportunity to do so. It's a little extra work, but it kind of aligns with everything that we're doing in the academy. You get to spend time outside, take notes, you identify and collect. Let me see, I moved my mouse, I'm sorry. We have someone here from CalNat to answer questions. that you may have. Elliot, I'm going to go ahead and finish my part of it and then let you share your screen because we're almost done. Okay, so as a naturalist, you support science and education institutions, and that's important. A lot of institutions now that have these nature-based programs are asking for the certification as part of, qualifying for a job. So this is a great opportunity for anyone that has been wanting to take this course. Usually they're offered during the week for 1 week at a time, and this is an opportunity to do it evenings, and it's spread out. And we have the opportunity, and if there is a need, we can definitely look into getting the fees covered. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's the wrong way. Okay, so to obtain your naturalist certificate, doing the homework, 40 hours class and field, and we covered all of that in the academy. You have to complete your journal, and we'll cover that in the academy. Set up your iNaturalist account, complete a community science project, and complete a capstone project. Your capstone project and your academy project can be the same as long as all the criteria is met. Complete the evaluation for the naturalist program, and you have the option to obtain extension credits for UC Davis. That we cannot cover, but the option is there for those that want to take advantage of the opportunity. And you also have to complete some volunteering. And we have 2 opportunities during that time frame for you to complete the volunteer criteria. This is the requirement. These are the requirements for the capstone project. And I think Elliot should be able to, talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. And questions about the program. Are there requirements? Yes, 15 and over. There is no restriction. I do not have an age cap. This is open to anyone 15 and over. What type of experience is recommended? None. No experience is recommended other than the experience of maybe coming from a marginalized community, because that viewpoint of being inclusive is heartfelt when you've been the person that has been excluded. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, but it's not what's a requirement. What qualities? I don't know. Depends on how many people sign up, and some people are retirees and they're looking for something to do. Some people are just kind of looking for something to do because they're empty nesters. Some are just starting and they need direction, etc. When I went through the academy, I was very honest and I said, I need the $500. I need a computer. I ended up buying tires with my money. But that's why I did it. It was 100%. This was a way for me to earn a little bit of money on the side. I had no job and I needed a computer. So, honesty is definitely appreciated. So it's scholarships for traditionally marginalized folks. The academy itself is a free program. The naturalist portion of it, we do have a way to cover those fees. The training, what does it look like and what is the culture? The training has kind of morphed over time. We used to be in person. Now it's a hybrid. Hybrid helps because you get to include more people because transportation is an issue. Time is also a hot commodity. But it also is a different way of engaging. And that's why we have the Saturday courses and the culture of the program is in inclusivity. We want everyone to be part of their community, bring their communities to, their community experience to other people, see where those places of overlap. The intersectionality is the word. But and the realization that we're all in it together. What kind of exposure to LA's conservation and sustainability community can we expect during this training? We have the capability to connect you with different environmental groups that are focused on BIPOC. We have the capability to let you connect with environmental groups that are focused on LGBTQ causes, food justice, language, accessibility, everything. Over the past 20 cohorts, we're just building and building and building those circles because yes, the needs do overlap. And what demographic is the Leadership Academy aimed toward training? The demographic is human beings, humans, people in that have needs in Los Angeles County. Now, projects. It might be a little overwhelming, but we will walk you through. So you are expected to complete your project within 2 months of graduation. Graduation is May. Projects should be completed by the first weekend in August. You need to write a letter of intent, and don't worry, we have templates for that. And every single part of that letter of intent, we train you for. We train you on, the power mapping and how to speak to in public and to the media, etc. So once you complete your letter of intent and you pitch your project idea, you're actually applying for a grant that's up to $1,000 to help you complete your project. So you get your $1,000 to complete your project. After you complete your project, you get that $500 for yourself. Every single penny of that $1,000 needs to be spent on the project. It's not you get 1,000, you spend 700 and pocket the rest. No, you will be expected to have a budget, and that's part of the training as well. The bottom, how will you measure success, the budget, all of that. Those are all things that we will have time to discuss in class. Each project should include these components. There has to be an outreach component, recruiting from your community as you define it. Education, there must be an educational component of your project. Art as activism, artivism, artivists. That's what we're going to be learning about with our session with Indigenous Peoples Resistance. Advocacy, it has to somehow relate back to this elected leaders of your community. So if you have a mayor, if you have a county supervisor, etc., you need to engage with them in some way. And communications. We will also train you on that, social media and more traditional media, campaign, letter to the editor, blog post, etc. So all of these things have to be part of your project. Don't be overwhelmed. We go through in each one of the classes and show you how, because that's what we're here for. We are training grassroots movements for communities that maybe haven't had the opportunity or the resources Great examples of projects. This was a 3-day workshop hosted by Youth Build, a bike trip through Hahamonga. You can see that there is the direct connection of the waterways and conservation to the forest national monument. A great program put together. It was a networking session with environmental people of color for all of young professionals that are coming up looking for support in their different fields. East Fork preservation, trash cleanup. That was all done with a few volunteers in one afternoon. Again, learning how to be responsible in our use of public lands. And ConvertiCan, art is advocacy, turning regular boring trash cans into art pieces. That's a great way to get community involved and include art in your projects. Community outings are always a favorite to local trails, maybe not so local trails. If you live in Long Beach and your people in your community have never been to the San Gabriel's, yes, that totally counts. Doing a project where you follow the flow of the river from after a fire, what happens with all of that, the pink stuff, the fire retardant, how it ends up from the river into the ocean. Yeah, that would be a great thing to do. There is no shortage of ideas, and the idea that you put in your initial application doesn't have to be the project that is your final project. It's just ideas that are coming through. This one was Nature for All Estudiantes, where they took kids from Boyle Heights and Koreatown, a very park poor area, and they just took them to open space, just LA State Historic Park, and this looks like Marsh Park, just parks in the neighborhood that maybe they hadn't been to before. And this is the way that they broke down their proposal, and they had nature come to them in form of La Ranger Troca. That's the National Park Service truck in a program. Okay, so frequently asked questions about projects. How do you share information with other people of color? It's up to you. You are defining your community. What works best for your community is your strong point. I was doing project and I put up flyers at the meat markets and the laundromats, because those are the people that I wanted to come on this outing with me, the carniceria people and the laundromat people, because the people that have access to electronics, they have access to information. I want people that maybe have never even thought about going into the outdoors. So that's where I went, and I ended up getting 10 people, which was my goal. So just ideas. And what are the geographical limits for the grant project? LA County. That's it, LA County, and it has to relate to the monument and the national recreation area. So if you want to do something at the beach, you need to specify how that relates to the rivers and the mountains. So how has Nature for All succeeded in bringing underserved communities to the San Gabriel Mountains? Community partnerships. Do we partner with schools? Nature for All does not partner directly with schools, but we partner with people that partner with schools. Boys and Girls Club, then former Boys and Girls Club of East LA, who are now oh gosh, I forgot, they changed their name. But we partner with people that partner with and bringing underserved communities. That shuttle project has just been amazing in getting people out, riding a bus, riding the Gold Line, and finally getting on a shuttle. It's time consuming, but it's possible. Okay, next steps. Applications are due by midnight, well, 11:59. By 11:59, February 12th. Please get them in as soon as possible, because I will be, I read them as they come in, to help me, kind of make decisions. By Monday morning, I don't want to have, 100 applications to read. So please get them in as soon as possible. You will get a confirmation by February 24th, more than likely in the form of a phone call. I will do my best to let everyone know whether yes, they were accepted, or no, sorry, not this time. But time constraints. So be patient, and I thank you all in advance for grace. The Leadership Academy runs from March 4th through May 24th, and you have until August 6th to complete your project. So now, are there any questions about the anything we've covered so far? Let me check the chat. Okay. I see Siomara, I see your question about the geographic. I think we answered that. So other ways to get involved. Community ambassadors training. Again, this program does not have any kind of restriction. Just if you want to learn how to community-based build and go through the leadership development trainings, we offer that through Nature for All. The easiest way to get involved is following us on social media. Those little hearts go a long way. Show the love always. And of course, the Stewards group. We have a lot of really fun online events. These are examples of 2019 and 2020, where we had book clubs, and the books were provided free of charge from the Natural History Museum. So we really try and make everything as inclusive as possible. And more questions. I see one in the chat. LA County, can you look online for what that would encompass? I don't understand that question. It's just within LA County, the geographical boundaries of LA County, not San Bernardino, not Ventura, just LA County. The questions for those that don't have cars with the Saturday trainings location we talked about or set in advance for travel planning. Once I get everything required, once we have the Saturday sessions, I will include how to get there on metro, buses, etc. Everyone within the cohort is more than welcome to carpool with each other. I will do my best to get you tap cards so that you don't have to come out of pocket for the travel expenses. So far, Eaton Canyon session 1 is accessible via the Gold Line and probably an Uber ride. Eaton Canyon, Gold Line, and an Uber ride. The geology one is still in the works, but more than likely Gold Line and Uber ride. Although the Gold Line has a different name now, it's still the yellow one. And then finally the graduation, no set place yet, but yes, we take into account that transportation is an issue. Is there somewhere we can see? We could see a list of past projects. Yes, online. I'm sorry, that was my previous job. On our website, LA Nature for All.org. to the page where you found the link to this, there is a session where you can see the previous projects. When Elliot is doing his portion of it, I'll post that in the chat. Will we get a copy of the agenda? So I have the breakdown now online, and it just has the dates. The agenda has not been finalized. Those who are accepted will get the final one. Essence, if you want to email me, I can send you something. Anyone that wants to email me, I'll put my email in the chat as soon as Elliot has the mic, and I will send you a copy of the proposed schedule, because things are subject to change. For the application form, the question for ethnic identity does not allow to choose multiple categories. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. If there is an other, that might be the only solution. The application precedes me. I went through and I made some changes, and others I couldn't make, and I really apologize for that, because being, you know, Afro-Latino is real. Being indigenous and Anglo is real, and I do not have a better way to capture that, and I sincerely apologize. Okay, let's see. I think there is other option, but you can't input text. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Okay, I duly noted. I will pass it on to our communications team and Vanessa. I see that you put other. Thank you for that, and I apologize. I don't want you to be invisible. And Morgan, thank you, because, you know, being able to write is a way of speaking up. So thank you both for that. I'll make sure that I pass the information on to our comms team. Okay, so now I think that covers it for the questions. And Elliot, you have the floor. For those of you that don't know, let me introduce Elliot, the most amazing program manager for Cal Naturalist, very supportive always. And I'm going to say generous, hint, hint. Thank you, Elliot, for being here and being so generous with time and resources so that we can offer the CalNat course to people that, you know, to community that needs naturalists. So thank you. Take it away.
Of course. And thank you, Brenda. Brenda's a really active member of the California Naturalist community. She serves as a guest speaker for some of our courses, as a reference, as a resource for a lot of budding naturalists and instructors. So yeah, Brenda is absolutely amazing. If you don't already follow her on social media, it's definitely worth following at Chaparral Chick. So we got to put that link in there somewhere so everyone can follow you. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you for laying out the Leadership Academy, Brenda. My role is very secondary. So I'm not a part of Nature for All. Nature for All is such an awesome organization run by such incredible people. And one of the lead, I think she's a program manager. I'm messing up her title probably. Araceli came to me a little while ago, a couple of years ago, and said, I took the certification at Pasadena City College, which is also where Brenda took the certification, and I want to offer it through the Leadership Academy. And so we sat down and started working out how it would fit. So I would say something to the tune of California Naturalist certification is in concert with the Leadership Academy, but it's really more of just kind of a backing harmony. You're really doing all of the work already in the Leadership Academy, and that the requirements for certification are being met through the Academy. So this is just kind of a real slight integration of our program into what the academy, the Leadership Academy, is already doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay out how our program is structured so it isn't as confusing. It's already confusing as it is, so adding it in onto a different program makes it a little bit more confusing, but hopefully I'll clear that up for you. And just kind of give you an idea of what the program's about and what you can expect from participating in the California Naturals section of the Leadership Academy. And a real quick shout out to Vanessa. Vanessa, I don't know if you remember me. I worked at Long Beach Marine Institute while you were volunteering there years and years and years ago. It's funny. I keep seeing Vanessa's name pop up in different capacities throughout my work. It's pretty fun. So good to see you, Vanessa. So I'll move into the next slide. This is kind of how our program is structured. So starting at the top, we are the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources. That's the name of my organization. So there's UCLA, there's UC Irvine, there's UC Davis. We are UC Agriculture and Natural Resources. We don't have a physical teaching campus. Our headquarters is located up in Davis, California, but we are not affiliated with UC Davis. With all that being said, we are part of the UC system, and our course is accredited through the University of California. So it's basically like taking a course through the UC. And we offer the backbone infrastructure and the curriculum for our program. And what we do is, instead of doing a direct delivery, instead of me going out into the community and teaching my course, we work with community partners. In this situation, our community partner is Nature for All. Nature for All has access to communities that we could not reach otherwise. So we work with these partners to co-design our course, to co-design our curriculum, make it relevant for the communities that these community organizations are serving, and they do the delivery. So as you can imagine, California is a massive state. California is a very diverse state. California has a lot of smaller subcultures within these massive, large cultures. Think about the different cultures within LA, and think about the massive subcultures within those smaller cultures. So we couldn't carry out this program if it weren't for our local partners. And also for talented instructors like Brenda and Araceli, who know these communities, and can communicate these concepts to these communities. So what we do is we train our instructors, which basically means we go in and talk about our program structure, and they deliver the content. They've already been doing the content. They've already been, interacting with the community. So they are the ones doing most of the work. We just kind of step in and offer an existing curriculum for our partners to deliver. And then we replicate this throughout the state. We have 50 active, actually I take it back, we have 65 active partners between our two certifications. There's the California Natural certification, which is the one you'll be participating with the Nature for All Leadership Academy. And we have a secondary certification, which is called Climate Stewards. It launched in 2020. Very similar structure, but just different content. So that's kind of how it works. It's a kind of a confusing situation, but basically we are going to be offering, you are going to be exposed to California Naturalist through the Leadership Academy is kind of how it's working out. 65 active partners all throughout the state. Whenever someone asks me to kind of define the value of our program, it really is the network. So we have trained over 6,500 naturalists and climate stewards. There's been about 7,000 people who have gone through our course. 6,500 of them are graduated and certified California naturalists and climate stewards. And just from this little quick map right here, is actually an outdated map. We have several more partners throughout the entire state. Number 20 is NFA, just for your fun little knowledge. But this is just kind of a glimpse at the network that you'll be getting into as a California naturalist. We are, like I said, statewide. We have so many people. There's just so many organizations that are a part of this network. When I was working over on Catalina, I really wish I knew that this network existed, because I'm, may or may not have stayed as long as I did in that position. You're kind of in a pocket down here as far as environmentalist work goes. So being a part of this network, again, statewide, it's absolutely massive. And this certification is gaining more and more notoriety as more and more organizations ask for it in position descriptions. And the organizations that are part of this network, when they are hiring people, having that certification really helps get you to the top of the interview list as well. So what you can expect from this training, specifically from the California Naturalist certification, you'll be participating in 40 hours or more of class time and field trips. You'll be reading the California Naturalist Handbook. It's about 300 and something pages long. There's 8 chapters. We'll get into those in just a minute. And any homework assigned related to the handbook and the content of the course. Journaling, we have a journaling requirement, which is basically just kind of reflecting on your experience in the outdoors, experiencing your course through the local partner. So in this case, with Nature for All, you're participating in our program, very much secondary to the main program, which is the Leadership Academy. So your journaling experience might look very different from what you would, maybe think of nature journaling to be, because it's going to be through such a different lens of the Leadership Academy. iNaturalist is a platform that uses community and participatory scientists to observe and upload organisms in and around their environment. That can be out in the mountains, that can be in your front yard, that can be inside your house, that can really be anywhere. Each course has an iNaturalist project, and each course also has a participatory or a community science project as well. In addition to that, every naturalist will be participating in a capstone project. This is what Brenda mentioned as your I forgot the title for it, Brenda. You can pop in and say it if you want. But this is that
Project.
There we go. That fulfills the the capstone project as part of your graduation from the Leadership Academy. So again, kind of thinking about the way these two projects line up, that's a really good example of where we see the harmony happening between Nature for All and CalNet. And at the end of your course, we have an evaluation for our program. I'll be honest with you, it's a little long and not super exciting, but it really helps us capture our demographics of our participants. It also helps us capture any valuable feedback you might have for our program, as well as the partner site, which again, in this case is Nature for All. So we really encourage you to take that evaluation. It really helps us define the future of the program and provide feedback to our instructors, as well as our partnering organizations. Optional are the UC Davis extension credits. Because we are part of the UC, this course is eligible for 4, and it's optional. You don't have to buy them if you don't want to, 4 University of California extension credits, and it's run through University of California, Davis. So again, a little confusing, but basically it's worth 4 University of California credits. It's pretty universal. If you were looking to transfer the credit to another organization, you just need to make sure that it applies. But we've never run into a situation where the credits aren't accepted. But again, it is up to you to make sure that your organization accepts them. And again, it's 4 undergraduate general education units through the UC system. We have the volunteer portal, which we'll get to in just a minute. Volunteering is optional. It's highly encouraged. A lot of our naturalists go on to volunteer multiple hours throughout the year. This allows us to really show our impact post-course, post-graduation. We have a statistic somewhere, I forget what it is, but over the life of the course, something close to $4 million of value has been given to the state of California through specifically our volunteers, our naturalists that are certified that go on to volunteer. We also have a really great relationship with Project Learning Tree. That's what PLT stands for. We have a lot of our naturalists who get PLT educator certified. Again, just kind of a program that works in concert with what we're doing. Through taking the certification, you're going to get a lot of information and a lot of knowledge. PLT really helps you express that to other people. So again, another option being connected to this network. So this is a curriculum. There's 8 chapters. I could list them all for you if you want. You can just kind of take a look at the screen and check them out. But you can really see how this aligns up with the Leadership Academy. Brenda and I were chatting a little bit earlier on, and you may have a question about how does geology line up with a civic engagement program. And something came to mind is that big quarry along the 605, and thinking about how that quarry impacts our communities, what added value does it have to the community and to the environment, and what negatives might that quarry have to the environment and to the community. Some of these subjects may seem a little far afield from what you are going to be experiencing through the Leadership Academy, but you can start to see like water is pretty important. Plants, we can talk about urban forestry, animals, even though we may be in an urban environment. I'm in a very heavily suburban environment. And we see animals all the time in our backyard, possums, raccoons, we see coyotes in the environment, and birds, things like that. So you can kind of see how some of this lines up with the important facets of the Leadership Academy. It's also worth mentioning the interpretation section too. Part of the Leadership Academy is being able to vocalize your work to different organizations, to board members, to city council members, things like that too. So you can see kind of where it fits in. This is a quick snapshot of journaling, very nature heavy. However, I would really encourage you to journal through your own personal lens and through the lens of this course. I'm a terrible artist. I'm really great at writing, and I'm really great at music and things like that, but drawing is not my strong point. However, putting the journaling through your own personal lens and through the lens of the course is highly recommended. Yeah, just kind of taking a reflective approach to your experience through the Leadership Academy. Oh, look who that is right there. Brenda made a cameo on my slide set.
That day?
That was the training day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the height of trees with that little doohickey thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I lost all those, by the way. I left them at the Arboretum. I don't know where they went. So the participatory science project is a way for our courses to kind of give back to the scientific community at large. This really, again, is up to our partners to decide the project, and you participate in it. So for instance, here, Brenda's measuring the height of trees at the LA County Arboretum. We have people doing stream monitoring. You can see Julio down here, who's also a member of Nature for All. Julio's doing a Cal eDNA sample. So basically it looks like soil to me, but they basically take a soil sample and submit that to Cal eDNA for sampling and analysis for what organisms are present in the soil in that area. But some things include water monitoring, air quality monitoring. Sometimes it can be just monitoring specific organisms in your habitat, like migratory birds, maybe lizards, maybe reptiles, things like that. I don't know what Nature for All's participatory science project is. I should have looked it up beforehand. But I can guarantee you it's amazing, because Araceli and Belen and Brenda are amazing people putting together awesome science content for you. Capstone projects in what I would call a traditional course take on a couple different, a lot of different forms, but we see a lot of interactive materials being produced, like trifolds that are educational. We see bingo, we see fun little games, we see people translating materials, we see restoration of specific habitats and locations, things like that. Beach cleanups are just a few examples of the capstone projects. But it, again, really encouraging you to think about your experience through the Leadership Academy and really funnel your passions through the end project for what you're going to be doing with the Leadership Academy. For a traditional course, the requirements are a little bit more open. It's gonna be a little bit more focused with the Leadership Academy, which again, just kind of channeling your experience through this project. This is the optional credit. It is an additional charge. It's $85. Actually, I'm sorry, it's $80 right now. It might change in June. They keep telling us it's going to change, and they keep, when it comes to the deadline, it doesn't change, which is great. But for now, as it stands, June 2023 is the next deadline. It's still going to be $80 up until that point. We'll find out how much it's going to be after June. There's an option, there's an additional $15 for the official transcripts. Bobo, you gotta be quiet, buddy. Thank you, bud. So those are our college credits. This is a survey at the end of the course. Again, I'm thanking you in advance for taking this survey, because it is long, but it does really help us in shaping our program for the future, and giving positive feedback to our constructive feedback to our instructors and partner organizations. This is the volunteer portal. This is how we keep track of our courses, our enrollments, and what our naturalists and our stewards are doing post-certification. If you choose to log your volunteering hours into the volunteer portal, again, we thank you in advance, but it is optional. No one's going to force you to do that. Your certification is for your life. It is a lifetime certification. So there's no maintenance hours required or anything like that. We do have a 40-hour incentive pin. So if you log 40 hours within 1 year, you get a fun little pin. The 2021 pin is going to be a fish, the golden trout, and then the 2022 pin is going to be a beaver, which is kind of fun. The only thing you are required to do with a volunteer portal is log in and add in your capstone project hours. This way we can capture your capstone project requirement for certification. But again, more information to come on that if you register for the course and get accepted into the Leadership Academy. This is a really quick snapshot of what we do. This is what we would call community of practice. So basically, we partner with organizations that are already doing this work, and we share the same values, right? So we're not going to be partnering with a bank. Is a really good example. We're partnering with organizations that are out in nature, that are doing informal science education. Anyone that's really delivering this content already is who we work with. And then we think about the communities they're engaging with. We are a statewide program. Again, California is a very diverse state. So working with organizations like Nature for All is what makes our program successful. And then the practice, which is using the same or introducing our partners to new tools that we use to carry out this program. So community of practice is a term we kind of throw around a lot as just kind of a way of thinking of our program, rather than thinking of it as, you know, an individual getting certified. We think of it as big giant network of people doing awesome stuff together. If you want a really fun kind of nosedive into CalNat world, I would get on our Instagram. That's the most engagement, and our we have the most followers on Facebook, but not a whole lot of engagement, but we have a ton of engagement on our Instagram. I also like Instagram more, so I'm on there more, posting more stuff. Facebook, not so much. And we are currently on hiatus with Twitter. So check out our Instagram. We are UC California Naturalist, UC CalNet. Also plug for Brenda's Instagram, which is Chaparral Chick. Definitely check her out on there. Awesome content. I steal her content all the time to repost it and stuff like that, shamelessly. This is some of the activities that we carry out. So we had a statewide conference back in October, which was a lot of fun. We have Cones, which is our California Online Naturalist Event Series. These are just some of the examples of the events that we put on as a team. Every year, the Cones happens about every month, every 2 or 3 months, if I'm doing it right. But our partners do a lot of these events as well. So being a part of this community really gives you access to what our partners are also carrying out. So for example, BioBlitzes, it might be, bird monitoring, things like that. Our partners are doing this stuff as well, which kind of buys back into that community of practice. So again, just kind of looking at this from the network standpoint. And that's pretty much it. So I'll stop there. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. They don't have to be about my program specifically. You can come off mute and ask Brenda any questions you might have too.
Yeah, and we're a little over, and that's okay. If anyone has to leave, I thank you for your time, but I'll be here answering any questions about the program, about CalNat, about the experiences. And I'll tell you, one of the people that we're partnering with, the Indigenous Peoples Resistance, Rick, when I told him that, everybody has the opportunity to also get their naturalist certificate, he asked for me to let him know who got their naturalist certificates, because he wants to hire naturalists for their camping program, because he also runs a camp up in the mountains. So the opportunities are there. It's probably not going to pay very much, and it's probably going to be hot and a lot of work because it's going to be summer, but it's a good experience. The naturalist certification has opened a lot of doors for me personally. at the beginning. I think I was a part of the second round that got the certification. One of the, at the time, probably the only Spanish speaking naturalist. Now, I think there's a little bit more, not too many, but it feels good to have been able to be that visual for people that maybe didn't feel comfortable being in an environmental space, because what an environmentalist looks like isn't usually people like, you know, like us. So anyway, questions, comments. Tiana, thank you for the email. I mailed her my proposed speaker list, and you know, we have the Wednesday classes, they're online, and I believe I did the 6 to 8 to make it accessible to get to bed early, but you know, since you're at home or wherever, you can still have dinner. There's a lecture and then activity. The speakers that we have to cover, you know, the natural history, etc. Of our very first class, we're going to be going over Indigenous history in the area with, you know, with tribal people, which is something that you don't get a lot in a more traditional classroom. The Saturday courses weekly or bi-weekly. They might be just once a month. The schedule is online. I should probably look. We have one in April. The first one, March 4th is a Saturday. April 1st is a Saturday. May 6th is a Saturday. And those are all of the Saturday classes. Does the Leadership Academy Naturalist program run consecutively? It runs, yes, consecutively at the same time. Being accepted into the Leadership Academy is one thing, and you have the option to also complete your naturalist certificate. It is not mandatory, but it's a great option. And you're already doing the work. It's just 1 or 2 extra classes, 1 or 2 extra hours. And your capstone project for the naturalist program can be the same project for the academy, as long as all of the criteria is met for both. How much is the what is the average price of a naturalist program, Elliot? Like the one that they did up, is it Pismo?
Yeah, the average price is about 370 to 390.
Yeah,
Intensive courses soar up to like 1400 or more.
yeah.
Um,
And that doesn't even include transportation and lodging if you want to go to these places, because it's not always offered locally.
yeah, the most local to us. Well, I mean, that's relative because we're all over. The one there's a few other partners in LA, but the one closest to me is the Dominguez Rancho, and that one's about $350. So yeah, so this is definitely a steal for you to get certified through the Leadership Academy. Highly recommended. Certified through it.
Not just that, but you know, we have the option for you to have that mini grant of $1,000 to complete your project. And then once everything is done, you get the $500 at the end. You know, if you participate, if you show up to 80% of the classes, you complete your project by the 2-month deadline. So it's a pretty good opportunity. I would say it's great to bolster a resume if you don't have a lot of work experience. If you're looking, you know, as this is an opportunity to bolster admissions to a college, if you're looking to network, all of these things are great side benefits. Do you have to be in the Leadership Academy to join the naturalist program? For this naturalist program, yes, there are naturalist programs throughout the state that will cost you money, that are not affiliated with us. Thank you. Great question. Okay, we are at 7:21. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Thank you, Elliot, for being here, and Bobo for being good. Tell him I said thank you, Bobo. Okay, so I'm glad that this was helpful. Please apply as soon as possible. Hello, how are you again? He's asleep, Elliot. I'm glad that it was helpful. Please apply as soon as possible. And if you have other people in your circles that you think might be interested, please forward the information. This is again, for me, it opened a lot of doors. Good night, Ruth, and Lacey, and Elliot, thank you. I put the links in the chat for previous projects. I will put in my email one more time in case anyone has any questions. You can reach me. I answered first thing in the morning at LA. I forgot my email because I don't always email myself. Okay, that should say Brenda at lanatureforall.org. Oh, I still screwed it up. It's Brenda at lanatureforall.org. But you can also find my email on the website. So thank you everyone for being here. Questions, comments, I'm here to help everyone succeed in their projects. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a nice night.
You too. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.